doing the
That's why I got a
sideline for
bone to pick
Apple.
with you. You know what? So you're doing the Friday night baseball game out there in San Francisco. Justin's pitching. He's cruising. I knew you were on the call, but hadn't heard a peep out of Russ yet. Justin hadn't given up a hit, hadn't given up a run. Finally, Russ comes on the screen, gives up a hit, gives up a run. I immediately text him saying, "Get off the screen, you bad luck."
And immediately, yeah, first hit, first run scored. It was all my. I will take that. I will take that. But we have tons of stuff to get to. But before we get to all the baseball, I want to remind you that watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup. Prefer to stream? Use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe through the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by reason. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area.
Russ, let's talk some Dodgers to start today
Let's
because
get it.
Dodgers started off 8-0. They were the greatest team of all time. They were breaking the all-time record. That was just the way things were going. After that 8-0 start, they went 10-10 in their next 20 games. They've played 21 since then. So they're 11-10 in their last 20 games. And we're now dealing with a Blake Snell IL. We're dealing with Tyler Glasnow now going on the IL. So many injuries everywhere you look. So all of a sudden, the conversation around this Dodgers team goes from, okay, and you and I had this conversation, Russ. We had this conversation on this show. And I said, yeah, this team, the thing that separates them is they have answers for all of these question marks that they do have. Well, here we are on April 29th. And man, that depth I talked about is already like, I wasn't expecting that to come into play at the end of April. It's April 29th, and they're already having to figure out the answers to all of these questions. They're talented enough to figure it out and be fine, but they ain't the greatest team of all time. And right now, they have the same issues that everyone else has.
This was my concern when we had that conversation a couple of weeks ago, Ben, where it's like, yes, the ceiling is one of the best teams we've ever seen, maybe the best team we ever seen. People talking about the wins record, 116 wins, but I came back. It's the journalist in me. You got to be realistic. For a team that had as many question marks in that rotation as the Dodgers, it wasn't a given that they'd make it through this season healthy. But lo and behold, they didn't make it through the month of April healthy.
Yeah.
Let me read off something for you, Ben, because you read off, those
You
guys.
pull this out of your back pocket?
I got my notebook handy dandy out of my back pocket. I'm just going to read to you the names currently on the IL for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Ready? So Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, Tony Gonsolin. Those are the ones you had on the screen there. Shohei Ohtani isn't on the IL, but he's still rehabbing back from his elbow surgery. You got Clayton Kershaw, River Ryan, Gavin Stone, Bruce Dark-Gratterall, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Michael Kopech, Emmett Sheehan, and Blake Trinan, Ben. You have all those dudes currently on the IL outside of Shohei, and several of those dudes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those guys are starting pitchers. So you talk about depth. I don't know where the depth is anymore. I don't think you can call it depth at this point. You're just hoping that somebody can come up from AAA, or you can bullpen game your way through to get to Yamamoto and Rookie Sasaki, Dustin May, and then Tony Gonsolin, who's going to make his debut this week. But man, if you're already going bullpen game in April, Ben, that's not a great spot to be in, even if you're the Dodgers.
100%. And I think when we talked about it, all of the guys that were have injury concerns. I would have, Blake Snell is on that list, but not the same as Tyler Glasnow. And look, Tyler Glasnow is one of the best dudes in baseball. It absolutely sucks. But at a certain point, when you talk about him, you have to have the conversation of injury prone, and our injury is going to creep up. They did. I feel for him. He's been dealing with cramps and back and elbow and shoulder and cramps again. It's just been thing after thing for really the entirety of his career. So here we are, end of April, and we're already having to answer those questions. And a lot of them that I talked to you about when I said, look, sure, they have their questions. All of those have answers. We don't know what those answers will look like. And I mentioned Clayton Kershaw, who it's too early to have him back yet. I mentioned Tony Gonsolin, who is just finally now about to come back. I mentioned Bobby Miller, who they gave a shot already this year, and again just gets lit up. So you did have a bunch of answers to these questions, and even those are now like again question marks. So yeah, I do have my concerns about the Los Angeles Dodgers, but look, I got something in my back pocket too, Russ. It says they still gonna win the division. Let's not worry about it.
I love that. Here's my thing. If I had to ask you, Ben, what is the sure thing in the Dodgers rotation, what would you say?
Yamamoto, easy.
So that's one guy.
I thought you meant the one sure thing.
Right. Like I think you're right, because that would be the answer. But it's just like, if that's all you're holding on to, a guy who didn't, make it healthy through all of last season, even though I came in this year, we've talked about it, that I think he's going to have a really monster season, could be a Cy Young finisher.
Yeah.
That's a lot to ask of a guy in his second year in Major League Baseball to carry your rotation until the other guys, whatever 3-4 that might be, can be healthy enough to give you some innings.
For sure. It's also a lot to put on Rockies Sasaki, who you're coming over expecting him as a phenom to eventually be an ace of a staff, and he'll be one of the best pitchers in baseball. But oh my God, we're going to be able to plug him in as a number 5 guy.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like, okay, 4 or 5 innings and 2-3 punch outs a game ain't going to cut it, right? I mean, we need you. Like, we can't afford these growing pains right now. And that's speaking figurative. Of course, they can afford the growing pains. They're going to be fine. But it's like all of a sudden, he puts himself in a position to not have to be the immediate guy on a team and like counted on every 5th day to be what he was in Japan. And now all of a sudden, it's like, we kind of need you to be that guy, Roki. Like, I know you're not going to be our ace, and we're not expecting you to be an all-star, but like, we're kind of now going to need you to go into the 6th, 7th inning in a game, which you haven't done yet. We're going to need you to save our bullpen a little bit. So I just feel like a month into the year and his role has already shifted into like, we need you a little bit more. And that's a scary place to be when he's a, young 20s, like future sensation in your eyes. This isn't how you drew it up with him.
And this is why they called him they all spring, they said, this guy is still a project. And everybody's like, what are you talking about, project? This is one of the best pitching prospects we've ever seen. And now you're seeing it because every start is a little different for Roki Sasaki. Yes, he's been getting better, but the command still not there. The fastball still not there. The split might be the best pitch in all of Major League Baseball, but if guys aren't going to chase, then you're going to have to find another, like he's a 2-pitch pitcher right now, trying to figure out command in the big leagues on the fly. And it's probably a better situation for him pitching for the Dodgers than somebody else, where he would have to be the ace of somebody's staff. And the other part is they've now committed to him only starting once a week, Ben. That's the thing. Like, you can't go and say, hey, we know we said you're going to start every Saturday, but now we're going to need you to go every 5th day. For a guy who has already had some injury issues in his past, like, you're hoping you don't have to do that, because that can throw you into an entirely different situation with his health.
Yeah. And I think the last thing I'll say here, actually, I don't know when the last thing I'll say is. Who knows when breaks are. I'll keep talking about the Dodgers all day long if we want to. But what I will say is, look, the reason, and I think we've now both seen, like the conversation we had earlier this season, you're 100% right. Like, are there answers to the question? Sure, but there are a lot of question marks. And you've been 100% right. And I look at that graphic that they showed while you were talking, and it's like, I feel like I'm kind of right too. Like, we're sitting here talking about this team and how many injuries they've had and how they need all these guys to step up. Yeah. And the Los Angeles Dodgers are 19-10. And I get it, over their last 20, it hasn't been great. A lot has been to start the year. And then they've also been playing weaker competition, which I feel like they play the Rockies or the Miami Marlins every other day. So we'll see over the next few days, over the next couple of weeks. But man, like, I feel like things have not gone right for the Dodgers to start the year. Mookie hasn't started hitting yet, pitching injuries after pitching injuries. And you look up at the end of the day, the other teams in the NL West have been absolutely killing it. And you're tied atop the division. And you're like, wait a second, we're just fine.
Yeah, they've to the fact that we're talking about them the way they are, and they're still one of the best teams in baseball.
It's crazy.
Just speaks to the talent level.
100%.
It really does. But you mentioned the Rockies. Things aren't going well in Denver. We're going to have to talk about the Rockies because there's going to be some tough days ahead coming up next.
You have a UTI at 30,000 feet. Yeah, you need a doctor. Good thing you can chat with an Amazon One medical provider from anywhere. That way, beds will be at your hotel, maybe even before you arrive. Now just brace your urethra for turbulence.
This MLB season, bet live with FanDuel and make the game come alive. Any homer can feel like a walk-off. Every base, a path to victory. And any strikeout can pay out. Make baseball come alive when you bet live this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win.
Your tow chains are a little loose. Could spark a wildfire.
Thanks a lot.
Anytime. You should check out SmokeyBear.com. They've got a bunch of tips on wildfire prevention.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey! There's someone at my door.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Hey, put the package back.
With Ring, you can make them hit the road from anywhere.
Meet Jonathan Thompson, an award-winning international travel writer on a mission to discover the world's most dynamic, adrenaline-fueled destinations. From once-in-a-lifetime outdoor adventures to local traditions and cultures, Jonathan will immerse you in the most vibrant metropolitan areas. Elevate your senses, ignite your wanderlust, and let the journey begin as he explores the world's best adventure cities.
Welcome back to FanDuel Sports Network Live. Want to remind you that watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup. For the stream, use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. We welcome you back in. Russ Dorsey, Ben Verlander. Ben, the Colorado Rockies are the worst team in baseball. Period. End of sentence. And when you're thinking about where they are in terms of historically bad teams, we just saw the Chicago White Sox lose 121 games and be the worst team in the history of Major League Baseball. This is through 28 games. The Rockies are currently 4-26. They are 4 games worse than the White Sox as we sit right now. And Ben, I think we could be looking at back-to-back seasons with the worst records in the history of the game. And here's the major difference for me. Last year, the White Sox needed to be bad. That roster needed to be bad. This year, I don't think the Rockies were out to be the worst team in Major League Baseball, yet here we are.
Yeah, look, I'm going to get frustrated here as well because it gets me when I see teams go into a year and just like they're okay with not doing anything. They're okay with not improving the team. It really gets frustrating. And the Rockies are on that list. What the Pirates do with Skeens at the top of the rotation are on that list. So to watch, like, it sucks to see teams be so bad. Last year, we had to watch the worst team of all time. This Rockies team is on pace to be worse than them. And look, I'm no math genius. I'm no mathematician, but they lost the game last night. I did a little bit of math. They're on pace to go 23-139. Who's having fun? Who's enjoying watching that? Who's going out to the ballpark? The only person enjoying it at all is the guy that's in charge of the team that's probably making a little bit of money because they're not paying anybody on the team. So it's just like it frustrates me beyond belief. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for Bud Black in the dugout. I just feel bad for everybody that goes in there every single night and tries to win ball games, but they're just not good enough to compete on a night in and night out basis. And here we are. Like, we talked all about the White Sox last year and their crazy pace, and it's almost like they made us numb to losing if you're the worst team in the league. This is this is bad. It's beyond like laughable. It's beyond comical. It just pisses me off that there's a team that is so bad.
Ben, last year's White Sox team had Luis Robert and Garrett Crochet for an entire season and was the worst team in the history of the game. This team doesn't have a player as good as Luis Robert offensively, even though Ezekiel Tovar is a really good shortstop. I'll give him that. And they definitely don't have a Garrett Crochet type in their rotation, right? And so you look at this team and say, I don't know how they're not worse than the Chicago White Sox just from a talent standpoint, because the White Sox, talent-wise, were as bad as you could find in Major League Baseball last year. I could make the argument that you were probably feeling a little bit more confident about where some of their younger players were, just because of the player development. The Rockies have been good at that over the years. But you look at all the things that have gone wrong for them as an organization. They didn't trade Ryan McMahon when they probably should have and gotten top value. Now he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. The Chris Bryant deal might end up being the worst deal in all of Major League Baseball, and you feel bad for Chris Bryant because that's the guy that when he started his career, Ben, you're saying this is a surefire Hall of Famer. This is 500 home runs, first 2 years, Rookie of the Year, MVP, World Series. And then his body just has not been able to keep him on the field and hasn't played over 100 games since 2021. And you talk about a guy that was supposed to be the biggest free agent in their franchise's history, who hasn't played more than 80 games since arriving in Colorado. And so you look at this team, man, and you feel bad for Bud Black, who's the manager of this team and kind of just has to tape things together and keep the young players engaged. But I don't know how you keep guys engaged, Ben, when, according to your math, and I trust you on this one, 24 wins by the time we get to September, 23 wins by the time we get to September. That's horrible.
Yeah, it's really bad. And I look back on this team and you ask, like, where did it go wrong? Obviously, you swing and miss on a Chris Bryant contract, but to me, it's more like the Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story situations. Yeah. Like Nolan, they shipped him out of town and money and got really nothing in return. And even at the time, it was like, okay, yeah, I understand as an organization, it's like, okay, let's look at the writing on the wall. Here's our star player. What can we get for him? And you just do the opposite. It's like, here's our star player, take him and we'll give you money. And then it became so clear to me at that point. It's like, it's not about winning there. It's about, okay, let's get this money off the books. Let's get some more money in our pockets. And we're going to be absolutely brutal for who knows how long, and we're okay with that. And I'm not okay with that, and no fan should be. And I feel bad for the players on the field. Like I said, I feel bad for fans of the Colorado Rockies because that place is beautiful. Yeah. I love that stadium. Fans like to show up for that team, and right now there's just no team to show up for, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's taking advantage of your fan base, and we're seeing that far too often around Major League Baseball these days. And I did one of my first Apple games there 4 years ago. Beautiful ballpark. Fans are awesome. People are so nice. I don't know when the next time I'm going to go back to Coors Field, Ben. I really don't, because I don't know when the next time they're going to have a team that's halfway competitive. And it doesn't help that not only are they at a talent disadvantage every night, they're in maybe the toughest division in all of Major League Baseball. You have the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants, and the D-backs are all really good baseball teams and playing good baseball. You look how tight that division is right now. So it's going to be an uphill battle for the Rockies for a long time. But to change gears to a couple of those teams that we see in the 2 and the 3 spot, the Giants and the Padres get started in a series this week. Got a good matchup tonight, actually. Nick Pivetta going up against Logan Webb. Ben, we're almost in the month of May. You got 2 teams in the Padres and the Giants that say, you know what, man? Yeah, we know the Dodgers did a lot, but after a month, I could make the case that these 2 teams have played much better baseball than the Dodgers.
100%. I mean, these 2 teams have been firing on all cylinders. Speaking of beautiful ballparks, we got this great series about to start down there in San Diego, which is going to be an awesome place to watch a ball game. Fans are awesome there. This matchup, I'm just pumped about. I mean, we know the Padres are good. They were good last year. They should have beat the Dodgers, shoulda, coulda, woulda in the playoffs, but that's how talented they are. They didn't necessarily add a ton, but they're still a very good ball club. We know that about them. Can we put some respect on the names of the Giants? I'm tired of seeing it's a fluke. It's a fluke start. I don't want to hear that anymore. I talk to John Smoltz on my show every week. He says the same thing every year. After 30 games, a club tells you what they are and what they're going to be. It's been 30 games. This club is really good. The Giants are going to be a fun ball club. Do they do it like the Padres, for example, do? No, but they could win the game tonight because Logan Webb throws a shutout. They could win the game tonight because Jung-Hoo Lee goes off and they score a bunch of runs. Like every single night is different for the San Francisco Giants. They have won 10 games when they've trailed by 2 or more runs this season. The second best team is at 6. They've almost doubled up the second closest team. So they're a team that can pitch well. They're a team that can come from behind. They're a team that can shut the door on you. I'm excited for this series. This is 2 NL West really good squads, and we're getting a good series on our hands here.
Yeah, and the Giants also catch the baseball. Just watching some of their games, like they know that. And I talked to Buster Posey actually when I was out there. He's like, "Hey man, this team is still pitching and defense, right? We have to throw the ball well. We got to be able to pick the ball up. And then you add guys like Willie Adames. You're getting the best version of Jung-Hoo Lee in the middle of that lineup. And so, yeah, I think I look at the Padres too. Like they haven't had Jackson Merrill basically the entire month of April. And he's on a rehab, right now in Arizona. You should be getting him back in the next couple of weeks. But if you're the Padres, you're feeling really good because, hey, no Jackson Merrill, who's one of the best players in the National League last year, and we're still near the top of the division. So both of these teams are in a good place. But there was something that happened over the weekend with the Giants, Ben, a walk-off Little League home run. Bob Melvin said, before you guys ask me, no, I've never seen anything like that. The best part about baseball is any day you go to the yard, you might see something you've never seen before. Elliot Ramos was probably just happy that he was able to win the game for the Giants, but not your best fundamental baseball there in the Bay.
No, he's happy he's 1 for 1 with a single, and he just happened to score on the play. For those that didn't see it, swinging bunt down the third baseline. Pitcher throws it away, goes down the first baseline, way down the line. First baseman picks it up, throws it to third. That gets away, and then he scores. Ball game over. It just feels, again, like the Giants got some voodoo magic going on, and that's how they win ball games. I look back to their World Series years. It's like, just win. Above all else, just win. They just won this game. But Russ, at watching this, look, it's no secret. Like, my brother plays for the Giants. I want that team to do well. It was cool seeing that. They win the ball game. Great. I actually just ended up pissed off here from this play. And hear me out. I played right field 95% of my games professionally. And I watched that play unfold, and I thought to myself, where is Adolis Garcia? What is he doing? And at minimum, if you're the right fielder and there's a ball down the third baseline, like rolling in the infield down the third baseline, I am standing in right field. I'm not saying, well, you got to back it up. You got to sprint down to where the ball could be. No, but your body is moving in that direction. It has to be. That's the bare minimum. Get your feet moving, get a little jog going. And the second you see that throw in the air that's going to be airmailed, or a pitchers aren't athletes. The second a pitcher picks up the ball and goes to throw it to first base, probably start running. The second the first baseman has to jump or move, kick it into high tail, but you're there, you're in the area. That ball gets by the first baseman. Adolis Garcia is nowhere to be found. Jake Berger, who is not the fastest, not the fleetest of foot guy, ended up being the guy to have to run all the way down the line, and then he picks it up. Then he throws it to third, throws that away. And the whole time this is unfolding, I'm just thinking, this is Little League basics. If you're the Texas Rangers, you are paying this guy a lot of money to be an all-star, to help your team get to the playoffs. You hope you're a playoff team, a division winner, and you have one of your stars not even able to do the bare minimum and back up a base. It cost you a baseball game. They all count the same. Whether it's game 20 or game 120, it's the same thing. And it could have easily been a runner on second, nobody out. Next thing you know, you don't even get a chance. You lose the ball game because your right fielder's being lazy. It was just frustrating.
Yeah, like you never know how that game goes if, he's able to get over there.
100%.
Because, yes, it could be a hit after that with a runner on second, run scores, you lose anyway. But maybe you strike out the side. Maybe you get a couple of pop-ups and a strikeout, and then you're hitting again. So, yeah, the little things. And we talk about it on our show. It seems like every time we have one, like, hey, you're going to look back in September and you're going to be like, damn, that 1 or 2 games that we maybe gave away because we didn't do the little things comes back to bite us in the butt.
Yep, 100%. And that certainly is one of the little things. And yeah, that's baseball, right? You never know what could have happened if you just pick it up. Like, yeah, just do your job. Just go back up. It's little league basics. Do your job. Sure, who knows what could have happened? The next guy could have gotten a hit and whatever, but that ain't even the point. Just do your job, do the bare minimum, get down the line, keep the ball game going, and next thing you know, you could win a ball game. I know I'm saying it makes it seem like a massive deal, but say the Rangers missed the playoffs by a game, you could have, like, if you just do the basics, then you could look up at the end of September and say, man, we are a playoff team. We made it by a game, and it really does matter.
Well, Ben, we're a month into the season, and so I think it's a good time to decide on some contenders and pretenders. We'll do that after the break.
FanDuel held a shooting contest to promote its new MySpend tool. MySpend makes it easy to view your deposit and bet history all in one place. Because betting without knowing how much you're spending is like shooting in the dark. See the whole picture. Make FanDuel's MySpend tool part of your system and stop shooting in the dark.
Girls' night!
Well, remember that place we got burritos from last time?
No, but with Ring, I can find it. Food delivery?
Nice.
There it is.
Wow, this really makes you look smart.
Thanks.
With Ring, you can type it and find it.
You care for the house, the kids, and our future. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's save a little more now so we can create the retirement we want. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Hate is loud. It gets clicks. It gets attention. Hate, however, is actually quite small. But love is the majority. Love fills our hearts, our lives, our every day.
You're sick, on vacation, and now your wife is faced with going out there, with them, alone. But mom's having none of that. She got you a virtual visit with Amazon One Medical. And soon, beds will get delivered right to the hotel. Because no one gets out of joyful family fun. No one.
Welcome back. We want to remind you that watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just check your TV lineup. Prefer to stream, use your TV provider to log in on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area.
We have a lot of teams out there that are just like hovering in the middle. There's a couple really good teams. Mm-hmm. There's a couple really bad teams. Mm-hmm. And then there's maybe the worst team of all time. And everybody else is right
globbed
there
in the middle.
Like 16 and 14 or 14 and 15. It's like all right around there. So you mentioned it before we went to break, but like, let's talk about some of those teams and who's real and who's not.
Yeah, look, we got the Braves, got the Phillies, the Reds, the Guards, the Orioles, and the Red Sox. I think a lot of people will look at those teams and like, oh, yeah, I could kind of see why they would be a contender. but maybe they're not thinking why they could be a pretender. But we're here to give them that. Do you want to go through them first, or should I?
Well, let's start with the Braves because I'll ask you about the Braves because I know you had a thought here on them. I had them winning the World Series, so it seems like a good place to start. What do you got on the Braves?
All right. So since the beginning of the season, we said that no 0-7 team to start the year ever made it to the postseason. I'm a big history guy. I've been a history guy since I was a kid. I'm going off the history, Ben. And I don't care how well the Braves have played over their last 15 games. If history says you're not going to the postseason if you start 0-7 to start the season, I'm going to say the Braves not going to the postseason. Also, you put yourself into a big-time hole, and they've done a nice job fighting themselves back. Still no Spencer Strider. Still no Ronald Acuna Jr. You have some clubhouse issues after the whole Jared Kelenic, Brian Snitker not benching them thing with Ronald jumping in on X about how he would have gotten benched. That's going to be there even though Kelenic got optioned to AAA. I just don't know with the Braves, man. Like they're playing good baseball, better baseball than they played to start the year. But until you could say that they're going to go a 2-month stretch with Ronald Acuna Jr. and Spencer Strider both there, I have a hard time buying what they're selling.
Ridiculous. This team, this is a playoff team. And I know you're a big history buff.
Yeah.
It's just the first 7 games. You know how many teams have gone on an 0-7 stretch at some point in the year and gone on to get to the playoffs? Diamondbacks and Rangers a couple of years ago both went 0-7 and 0-8 at a certain point in the year. So, like, if you want to nitpick stats, you can find a stat for anything. I can find a stat that says, you know what, a team that loses the 101st game of the year on a Thursday with a 7:05 start never goes on to win the World Series. And it's like, okay, let's just be honest about this team. This team is legit, and they just got off to a bad start. They've seemingly figured it out since the day that I went to Atlanta and turned that season around. They've had one of the best offenses in all of baseball. They're playing in Colorado right now, so they're going to win those games. This team is legit, Russ. They're contenders.
You're
Absolutely.
Not fooling me, Ben Verlander. You just want love from the people of Georgia. That's all. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you want to go to the Battery and you want to go to Yard House. And look, I love Yard House just as much as anybody. You want people to buy you free drinks.
I did go to Yard House the night before our show. That is true.
I get it. And now I'm not going to be able to go to the Battery and get free drinks, and that's okay. But I look at the Braves and I say, all right, at this point in the year, are they a better team than the New York Mets?
I mean, at this point in the year,
I think right now the Mets are the best team in baseball.
Oh, for sure. Right now, no. Mets are best team in baseball.
Are they a better team than the Phillies, who we'll get to next?
Right now, no. But that's because they play.
And both of those teams are in their division.
You make a good point, but I had 3 teams from that division getting in the playoffs.
It's fair. That's a fair point. While we're on that division, let's go ahead and get to the Phillies.
Contenders. This team's great. I mean, this team will contend to win the National League, in my opinion. They're on the short list of teams that can beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. I don't even mean short list. It ain't that short. I think the Braves could. I think the Phillies could. I think the Mets can. I think the Padres can. Like, there are teams that can beat the Dodgers in the playoffs. The Phillies are absolutely one of them. Their staff is nasty. They have a good offense. They're just not firing yet. They do this every year. What do you got, Russ?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Phillies. They don't even have, Trey Turner hasn't even gotten hot yet. That's a guy that can carry you for a stretch. Bryce Harper hasn't had the month where he has like the 500 batting average, 600 OBP, and hits 7 homers. Like, that's coming too. It's been the pitching that's really surprised me with them. Like, they've been nasty, and that's with Aaron Nola still trying to work through some early season struggles. He was really good against the Chicago Cubs over the weekend. But yeah, I'm with you with them on contenders. As we go to the Cincinnati Reds, we're both feeling, well, you're feeling contender. I'm feeling more pretender right now because of who's at the top of their division. Now, they're only a game and a half behind the Chicago Cubs, right? They've been able to keep themselves in the race, even with the Cubs playing some of the best baseball in the National League. I look at them and I say, all right, I love that they're young and they're athletic, and I love Ellie and love Matt McClain, and Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo look legit at the top of that rotation. At the end of the day, I kind of think of it and I say, are like we just did with the Braves and the Mets and the Phillies, like, are they better than the Chicago Cubs? Because to your point, you think 3 teams are going to come out of the NL East, which means there's only one spot for a team in the NL Central. And if I think that team is the Chicago Cubs, and they've shown us that, that offense is the best in baseball, I don't know if there's room for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, look, I have the Reds as contenders because I had them winning the NL Central this year. And I will agree with you in that the Cubs are better than I thought they would be. Yeah. Does that mean they win the division? I don't know. They're certainly the favorite to, but I haven't given up on this Reds team for the reason I believed on them before the year. They're rolling right now. They have the best run differential in baseball besides the New York Mets, who are the best team in baseball. Yeah. Their ERA under 3.5 on the season. Austin Hayes, big addition for them. Wins as well. They've combined for 398 homers, 24 RBIs, and 82 at bats. Ellie De La Cruz is a superstar and continues to mature at the plate with his approach. Year in and year out, he just gets better and better, and I bet you he continues to get better throughout the year. I believed in this team because I believe in their young core. I believe in Hunter Green as an ace of a staff. I believe in Nick Lodolo in the rotation, and I believe in Terry Francona to lead this team. So, look, I do acknowledge that the path gets harder with the Cubs being good. You got to win the division to get in the out of the NL Central. I don't think either of those teams are going to get a wild card spot. You have to win the division. But I still, look, the Cubs have lost a couple games in a row now. They obviously got off to a great start. They are a great team. I don't know if this Reds team is as talented as the Cubs, but I can see them pushing for the NL Central, which is a weaker division. So I'm going to say contender still.
Let's go to the other team in Ohio, the Cleveland Guardians. I think we both agree on this one. They just feel like a pretender. The Guardians have been really good for a long time now at going smoke and mirrors, and you always look at the roster and you're like, how the heck are they back in the postseason? But the starters is usually where they are strong, right? Their starting rotation and their bullpen both have struggled. They're 27th in starter ERA. They're 25th in ERA overall in baseball. And you look at Emmanuel Clase, who was unhittable last year, a finalist for the AL Cy Young Award. And he's getting hit around a little similar to Devin Williams in New York with the Yankees. Just like something you haven't seen before. And Stephen Kwan's having a monster year, but the rest of their lineup has not. And this, the first year without Josh Naylor, they've had some adjustments. No Andres Jimenez playing second base. And so they've moved some things around. They've had some tweaks to their roster. And even though I do think they're going to have a stretch where they play good ball, because that's what they do there in Cleveland. And Stephen Vogt's a good manager, but it just doesn't feel like this year in that division where you have the Royals and the Tigers, who you and I both love what they've been able to do and what I think they're going to be able to do at the deadline. I just have a tough time believing that they're going to be able to fight back into a playoff spot.
Yeah, you mentioned it. It's about starting pitching, and it has been for the Guardians. They aren't that team, unfortunately, that you have Jose Ramirez, who's a superstar. They aren't that team that goes out and really adds around him in the lineup. Yeah. So it's been about starting pitching. It's been about the back end of the bullpen. Emmanuel Clase is one of the best closers in baseball. Maybe somebody figured him out in the postseason, and that's continued into the regular season. I don't know. But we saw him get lit up a little bit in the postseason last year after becoming a Cy Young finalist, and that's continued into this year. Starting pitching's been bad. They just don't have the makeup, the blueprint on the field to be a playoff team. There's only going to be one AL Central team this year that I think gets in. The AL is weaker, but you got to win that division. I don't think the Guardians are a wild card team, and I don't think they're winning the division.
Nor are they better than the Royals or the Tigers.
Correct.
This next one, Ben, I'm going to borrow from you. They really piss me off sometimes. And this one bothers me because this should be one of the fun, bright young teams in all of Major League Baseball, the Baltimore Orioles. Yet we're calling them pretenders. You have this young core of players, Adley Rutschman, Jordan Westberg, Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday. You got Cedric Mullins playing back to what he was in 2022 when he was a 30-30 guy. You add Tyler O'Neill, yet they don't have starting pitching. They refuse to add starting pitching. Now guys are already banged up and getting hurt, and some of those young players just haven't hit at the big league level. They're on the precipice, Ben, of having one of the worst runs we've ever seen for a team that we thought that we were going to get a lot out of. And I'd put the Chicago White Sox from a couple years ago in that boat. But the Sox made it to the postseason a couple times before it went off the table. But you look at, where they are. They're 11-17. They're the last place team in the AL East in a division where you got the Yankees, you got, the Red Sox playing well, better baseball. You got the Rays playing better baseball, the Blue Jays playing better baseball than they are. Like, they could get their manager fired. Like, we're getting to that point, Ben, with the Orioles, where it's just like, this thing could go bad really quick.
Yeah, and it has. I mean, this window is supposed to be open for a decade, and it's still early. You're not even 30 games in, but you're 11-17. You didn't add. This team didn't look good. It didn't look as good on paper as it did last year, and they didn't do well in the playoffs last year. So I could go on and on and on about this Orioles team, but I'm with you. Pretenders because of the position that front office has put the team in.
Yeah, it's not great. We'll go to one more team in that AL East, the Boston Red Sox, who I believe would win the division, even though the Yankees, you have Aaron Judge, you're playing out of his mind. He looks like a combination of Barry Bonds and early 2000s Albert Pujols. Like, what he's doing is insane. We'll get to him a little bit later. But, the Red Sox the last couple of years have been able to pitch well. You bring in a Garrett Crochet, that helps any rotation, right? To have a guy like that at the start or the top of your rotation, you give him the extension. Offensively, you bring in Alex Bregman. You're getting production from Christian Campbell, one of your young studs. You still got more young studs down there in AAA with Roman Anthony and Marcelo Mayer and Jarren Duran. Rafael Devers is going to be better at some point and give you the Rafael Devers all-star performance that we expect. Tristan Casas has been playing better baseball. This seems like a well-rounded team, and it's also a team that could bring in reinforcements should they need it.
Yeah, this team is a contender. I'm right there with you. I did have the Boston Red Sox winning the AL East this year. Who knows if that's going to be the case? The Yankees are, they're currently right up there with the Yankees. The Boston Red Sox are playing better over the last few games. 6-4 in their last 10, 16-14 overall. Bregman's tearing it up. Devers has started to figure it out. Devers wasn't going to go 0 for the season, I promise you. He might have started really bad, but he's a stud. And maybe he realized that, all right, I got to stop. I'm not paid to go play third base. I'm paid to hit. Maybe I should start doing that. He has. Garrett Crochet's a stud on the mound. This team has the makings of they have their ace. They have a really good offense. I would like to see them, if it comes trade deadline time and they're looking really good, add another top of the rotation arm. But, this team has the blueprint of what it takes to be a great team. I think they are. I think they're absolutely contenders. I think they're a playoff team.
Ben, we mentioned Aaron Judge, good player. But we're going to tell the folks how good he has been, not only this year, but the last full calendar year coming up next.
Hey, there's someone at my door.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Hey, put the package back.
With Ring, you can make them hit the road from anywhere.
This MLB season, bet live with FanDuel and make the game come alive. Any homer can feel like a walk-off. Every base, a path to victory. And any strikeout can pay out. Make baseball come alive when you bet live this season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win.
That's infected. Maybe getting a tattoo at a 3-day music festival was a bad idea. Lucky for you, an Amazon One medical virtual visit can happen anywhere. Even here. An Amazon pharmacy will deliver antibiotics right to you. So you can breathe easy. Well, sorta.
Meet Jonathan Thompson, an award-winning international travel writer on a mission to discover the world's most dynamic, adrenaline-fueled destinations. From once-in-a-lifetime outdoor adventures to local traditions and cultures, Jonathan will immerse you in the most vibrant metropolitan areas. Elevate your senses, ignite your wanderlust, and let the journey begin as he explores the world's best adventure cities.
Welcome back to FanDuel Sports Network. Got a beautiful shot of a fountain out there. It's been good weather all across the states. Royals and Rays on FanDuel Sports Network tonight. But we want to remind you that to watch that game and watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. We're part of your cable or satellite package. You're good to go. Just check your TV lineup, prefer to stream. Use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. Ben Verlander, Russell Dorsey. Ben, have you ever heard of a guy named Aaron Judge?
Heard of him. Good player. Good player.
Good player. But I just want to tell you how good the former MVP, actually two-time MVP, has been. I want to show you a graphic, Ben. Over his last 162 games, 359, 62 bombs, 159 ribeye steak sandwiches, 138 runs scored, a 1.240 OPS, and you put him up against another Bronx legend, Babe Ruth. Ben, I'm with you. I think we both agree on this. Like, we throw the word all-time great around a lot, and sometimes we might do it too much. We are watching an all-time great because if Aaron Judge continues at this pace, he just turned 33 years old. He's going to approach 400 home runs probably next season, and then now you're looking down the barrel at 500, possibly 600 if he continues. You know, I like to tell people all the time, no season he's ever played 150 games did he not hit 50 homers. He's on pace to do that this year. He's already hit 1 homer tonight. And you're talking about a guy that is putting himself in the conversation in rarefied air.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a player that, in my opinion, is like, I love appreciating greatness while it's happening. You know, I talk a lot about Shohei Ohtani. Everybody on the planet knows that. Why? Well, I think he's one of, if not the best player we've ever seen. He's the best player I've ever seen with my own two eyes, so I want to talk about him a lot. Aaron Judge is quickly looking to me. I say Barry Bonds is the greatest hitter I've ever seen. Barry Bonds and Aaron Judge have been putting up similar numbers over his last 162 games. It's remarkable what he's doing. He's doing it while hitting over 400, by the way, which isn't like, we're not talking about a guy that's hitting for a bunch of homers and he's breaking the all-time American League home run record and he's going to hit you 270 while doing it. Like, he's hitting over 300. He's hitting over 400 on the season while hitting for power as well. So it's truly remarkable what he's doing. And I mean, you look at his spray chart right here and you ask what makes him so good. You cannot be as good as Aaron Judge is without a spray chart looking like this. You can't hit over 400, over 300 without a spray chart that looks like this. You can hit 40 plus homers with all of them being pull side, but you can't hit for a high average. Look at this. All of these are guys that are on the home run leaderboard charts this year. Eugenio Suarez hit 4 homers in a game the other day. He's up to 10. Cal Raleigh's at 10. Trout's at 9. Torkelson's at 8. All of those guys combine for just as many singles, 31 singles. Aaron Judge is at 29. So that just goes to show you Judge is hitting for power, but he's doing it differently than everybody else in the game of baseball because he's not just a power hitter. In fact, I wouldn't even really say, this is crazy, I wouldn't even really say he's a power hitter.
Agreed.
Aaron Judge is a hitter. He is the epitome of a hitter. He's got pop. He can hit it to all fields. He can do whatever it takes in the batter's box to get a knock. And if it's taking the ball the other way and taking your singles, he's got 29 of them. If you hang a pitch, he can take a yard any day of the week. So he's remarkable, Russ.
when you're 6'7", 260, you don't really got to do too much, right? Ball's gonna go. And I think what we showed the spray chart. You see him hitting the ball all around the yard. That's how you hit over 300. And you got to know Miguel Cabrera in your time in Detroit and got to see how good that guy was. That's one of the best right-handed hitters we've ever seen. When we're talking about Aaron Judge, we're talking about him with the Miguel Cabreras, the Albert Pujolses of the world, your Frank Thomas types, that guys that routinely hit between 300 and 330 with tremendous power, control the strike zone. And because they're not going to get themselves out, you definitely can't get them out on the mound. And so they've really honed their skills and what they can do as a hitter. And it's so cool. It's 100%. So cool watching. I don't know what that is, but it's so cool watching a guy like that hit. And well, we got a little technical difficulty here, Ben. I don't know what we're hearing with that little pucks, but we're talking about baseball. Let's do this. Let's take a quick timeout here on FanDuel Sports Network Live, and we'll come back after the break.
Might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. You may not even know you have it, but you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand. With early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I'm with 2018 lacrosse national champion Christian Gaudy for the FDA's Don't Get Burned Sunscreen Challenge.
Bring it, Daryl.
She's tough, but I won't get burned today. I'm using a broad-spectrum sunscreen.
The FDA recommends broad-spectrum sunscreens with an SPF of 15 or higher with other sun protection measures to reduce the risk of sunburn and skin cancer.
You smoked me, Kristen.
That's because I use sunscreen, so I wouldn't get burned by you and the sun.
Broad-spectrum sunscreen. It's a winning play every time.
There I was, 16, divorced, remarried with a baby, another on the way, and I could barely read or write. Getting my high school diploma was a catalyst I needed. Now I have a bachelor's, a master's, and I became a teacher. When I look at all these success stories, I could not help but think it all started by getting my high school diploma.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Welcome back to FanDuel Sports Network Live. Watching your local team is easier than ever with FanDuel Sports Network. If we're part of your cable or satellite package, you're good to go. Just use your TV provider login on the FanDuel Sports Network app. Prefer to stream? Yeah, prefer to stream, use your TV provider on the FanDuel Sports Network app. No cable, no problem. Subscribe to the app with monthly, seasonal, or annual plans. You can even stream your team on Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Availability varies by region. Don't miss a pitch. Check getmyhometeams.com now to see if FanDuel Sports Network is in your area. Ben Verlander, Russ Dorsey, back on FanDuel Sports Network Live. We took care of that technical difficulty here. Ben, a month through the season, there's some guys heating it up right now. So we wanted to do top 5 in what our MVP voting ballot would look like. I'm going to start here with the American League. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. Number 5, Paul Goldschmidt. He's been swinging the bat really well, second in average in the American League. Tyler Soderstrom, Alex Bregman, Cal Raleigh, and of course, the guy we just talked about, Aaron Judge. The big one there, Tyler Soderstrom. I know a lot of people haven't heard of him. He is tearing it up out there in Sacramento for the A's. Alex Bregman, obviously, big time acquisition for them. He's had a really strong start to the season.
I love that. The AL's tough. I think our AL is going to be really different here. NL, there's some big time names at the top, but let's get to my American League MVP picks. I'm going to go Cedric Mullins at 5, who's killing it right now. George Springer at 4. This is where I'm going for a loop. The AL MVP race, well, obviously Aaron Judge is at the top. Other than that, a lot of good performances, but I wanted to throw a pitcher in there. Garrett Crochet has been phenomenal. New start with the Red Sox. He's the ace of a staff for a team that's playing good. He's got an ERA in the ones. He's up there at the top of the league in strikeouts, towards the top of the league. So I wanted to give a pitcher some love in the MVP voting. Bobby Witt Jr. at number 2 for me, just a stud. He's a star. He's going to win an MVP at some point in his career. Aaron Judge comes in at number 1 for me because it's obviously Aaron Judge at number 1.
Yeah, like I'm with you, and I like that you threw a pitcher in there because you looking at the names, you're like outside of Judge, nobody's like setting the world on fire. So you gotta be creative. So I like the Garrett Crochet pick there. Let's go over to the NL. This was fun because there are a lot of guys tearing it up over there. I'm gonna go Jung-Hoo Lee as the number 5 guy, Kyle Tucker at 4. Fernando Tatis Jr., who was kind of the leader of this when we first started our show, at 3. Corbin Carroll really turning it on at the number 2 spot. And number 1, we got the polar bear on the revenge tour, Pete Alonso. He's been absolutely swinging it there in Queens.
Russ, I absolutely love this. I think I have all 5 of the exact same names of you, just a little bit different order. Let's see mine. Yes. So I'm going Jung-Hoo Lee at number 5. Simple. Giants are outperforming what everybody thought, and he's the leader of that offense. He is so much fun to watch. So I went him at number 5. So we're the same 5 through 4. I got Kyle Tucker at 4. Cubs also outperforming what people might have thought, and he's the star of that team. He's been great. 3, 2, and 1 are all like, man, these guys are so much fun right now. Corbin Carroll is back. 2 years ago, I coined MVP CC. Corbin Carroll, MVP CC. This year, he could be on his way to that. He has been phenomenal. He's back. A little bit of a sophomore slump, but he's back to, he's hitting a couple triples in games the other day. He's hitting for power. He plays a good defense. He runs the bases. He's a star, man. I love watching him. Pete Alonso, if you were to tell me the Mets are the number 1 team in baseball at the end of April, I would say, well, Juan Soto is going to be a top 3 MVP vote getter. Well, he's not right now. Pete Alonso is the reason right now. Well, the reason is pitching. But Pete Alonso's carrying that offense. He's been fantastic. And I'm sticking with Fernando Tatis at the top. Just a stud. Outfield, incredible. Hits for power, runs the bases. Padres, one of the best teams in baseball. He does it all. It is a treat. It is entertainment to get to watch Fernando Tatis Jr. play the game of baseball. I enjoy that a lot about him. I enjoy watching him play. I have him at number 1. So same 5 in the NL.
I love it, and great minds think alike. I am curious, though, because I think when I was looking at the top 3, I think Corbin Carroll has really been playing great baseball, but the D-backs are the 4th best team in their division, right? Then I look at Fernando Tatis Jr., who, if I would say for the first 3 weeks of the season, would 100% be my MVP. But as we round out the month and you look at who the best team, not only in the league, but in baseball is, it's the New York Mets. And if you look at who has been their best offensive player, it's Pete Alonso, and it's not really close. And the fact that he's doing that on a team with Juan Soto, where people are likely pitching around Soto and pitching to Pete Alonso, even after Juan saying, man, it's different, not hitting behind Aaron Judge. Well, you got a guy that's looking like Aaron Judge in that lineup in Pete Alonso. And after what he went through, this offseason with teams just saying, nah, don't really like Pete Alonso as a player. And for him to come out and do this, it really says something about how locked in he is, not only at the plate, but mentally.
Russ, I might not respect your thoughts about the Atlanta Braves, but I absolutely respect your thoughts about Pete Alonso. I agree with you completely. He's a stud, and he's playing well for the best team in baseball right now. And absolutely, for me, the top 3 was a toss-up. I cannot argue with having Pete Alonso in that one spot. Absolutely. I agree with everything you said.
Well, Ben, we've come to the end of our program for today. I want to thank everybody for watching FanDuel Sports Network Live. I don't know when we're going to do another one of these, Ben. Hopefully we get one soon. For Ben Verlander, I'm Russ Dorsey. See you guys later.
FanDuel held a shooting contest to promote